Hey there, fellow photographers. It's Matthew Seville here with SLRlounge.com, and this video is going to be a very important one because we're going to talk about how to recover images off of a corrupt or damaged memory card. Now, first and foremost, don't panic because there's actually a very good chance that you can get your images back from a bad memory card if you simply understand what is going on and stick to a very simple, straightforward workflow procedure. Actually, corner cutting and forgetfulness or human error are the greater culprits in image loss overall, much more than actual data corruption. So you want to be very mindful and never cut corners. Now, first and foremost, I want to caveat or disclaim that your best line of defense against image loss is actually redundancy. A lot of cameras these days, almost all the high-end cameras, have dual card slots. And in my opinion, a responsible professional, especially if you're getting paid to take pictures, you should be using dual card slots, recording RAW to both memory cards. And that way, this whole thing of image recovery becomes a secondary, last resort situation. Now, there's two different categories of problems. There's either physical damage to the memory card, or there is actual data corruption. Physical damage is obvious. You could have, I've seen both SD and CF cards that have split in half, or the contacts, the pinholes on the CF card or the stripes on an SD card, those can be damaged. Or of course you could smash the memory card, or it could take a dunk in water or something. Physical damage, like I said, is pretty obvious. Electronic or corruption damage is not as obvious. It could be that one single image has gone corrupt, or, unfortunately, it could be that the entire thing itself, electronically, the controller card inside or whatever, has gone corrupt and all of your images are invisible or missing or gone. All right, step one, before you do anything else, stop taking pictures right now. If you keep shooting, if you have a memory card issue and you keep shooting pictures, all bets are off. I can't help you. You're going into no man's land. If you have a problem, your best line of defense is to face it when you can focus all of your energy on dealing with the problem. And that is not in the field. So take the memory card out, put a new memory card in, and keep shooting and deal with that corrupt memory card later. By the way, before we go on, I want to talk about how images are actually written to the memory card in the first place, because I think it's important to understand that before you understand image recovery. And so the way this works is, let's say you go out and you shoot your memory card until it is 100% full. Then you go home and, like a good little boy or girl, you download and back up those images, and then you format your memory card. Now, when the card is formatted, most cameras' format functions are not actually destroying that image data all the way. They're just telling the memory card, hey, pretend that these pictures aren't here and record new pictures on top of them. So that is the problem that you have. If you overwrite new images on top of old ones, those ones are pretty much gone. Now you know why it is so important to follow that strict procedure of, if you suspect a problem, stop shooting with that memory card. Okay, so step two is to make a mental note. Can you still see some images on the memory card? Or is there an error and the camera is saying you need to format this memory card or cannot read this memory card? Make some mental notes because you might need to tell a data recovery specialist what was going on later. Then, once you've assessed the situation, you can put that memory card away, finish your photo shoot, and deal with the problem when you get back to your computer at home. If there is physical damage to the memory card, then unfortunately my recommendation is going to be to stop right now and send that memory card in to a data recovery specialist, because they can rebuild the memory card if they have to. They've got some awesome tools that they have at their disposal, and you just don't want to deal with that problem. Software recovery, however, is the step that you can take and probably get your images back. Now, as you run your recovery program, what it's doing is it's scanning the memory card for all images, whether or not they're formatted, and it's just going to show you everything. It'll show you RAW photos. It'll also show you JPEG thumbnails sometimes. If you can't find the photos you're looking for, or if it's only showing you some small JPEG thumbnails, you can try again, do a deep scan or an advanced recovery or whatever. Most programs have different options. Try again to run, or just try a different program altogether. I've heard many stories where one program didn't work at all and another program worked perfectly fine and got all the images back. Before we go on, I have to say, if you're a responsible, serious photographer, don't just format that memory card when you're done recovering and try it back in your camera and be like, oh, hey, it's working again. You need to be a responsible, serious photographer and retire that memory card from especially professional duty. You should be buying memory cards that have a lifetime warranty. So send that memory card in for a free replacement. Do the right thing, because otherwise you're just asking for trouble. Before we talk about professional recovery options, I did want to talk about what happens if you have water damage. Now, this is actually a very survivable thing because memory cards are very hardy little things, both CF and SD cards. I've heard of them going through the washer, and then a photographer says, oh, it went through the wash, I might as well just put it through the dryer as well. And then they plug it into their computer and it actually brings up the photos. Now, I don't recommend putting a memory card into a dryer, but if you do get your camera or memory card or lens or anything wet, then dry off your memory card. If it got salt water on it, you want to actually wipe it down with a damp cloth because salt is like cancer to any electronic device. You've got to get that salt water off with a damp cloth, damp towel, wipe it down, and then let it sit somewhere dry and warm. If you live in a very humid environment, you can try the whole bag of rice thing or have anti-humidity devices or whatever, the little pouches, and that could work. But if you live in Arizona or something, for example, where it's very, very dry, just leave it out, leave the memory card alone for hours or a day or two, and then you could probably plug it into your computer and you'll be fine. Finally, when all else fails, your last resort, the final step, is a professional data recovery service. Don't lose hope, because I've heard some pretty impressive stories about how companies have been able to reconstruct a broken or busted memory card or fix a corrupted memory card, and some of these companies even have government clearance for doing the real serious data recovery. All in all, no matter what happened to your memory card, whether it's some crazy, amazing story that I'd love to hear about, or whether it's some embarrassing human error that you don't have to confess, I don't want to know, there's a very good chance either way that you could get your pictures back. Whether you use a professional data recovery service or off-the-shelf software, you have a very good chance at getting back almost every single one of those photos on your memory card. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Arr.